G'day strangers. G'day lovely peeps. How you going? I hope you're all well, as can be, and keeping safe in this horrific and troubling time that we are living in at the moment. And lockdown is all really awful, and hopefully it will get sorted sooner rather than later, and we can all get back to our normal. So, love and good thoughts to everyone out there, however this is affecting you. Well, basically, it's been a while.com, and I've wanted to do this for over a year, because it was over a year, I think, was my last one. It must be well over a year now. Excuse me. Basically, wanted to do this for over a year, and just carry on my videos as normal. But a lot of stuff got in the way. Not got in the way. Got in the way, but not in a bad way. Life got in the way, but the best kind, which I will go into as we go along. I don't know if this will be in 2 parts or 3 parts, or just to kind of catch up and tell you where I've been hiding for the last year or so. But a big part of this is for me. I don't know if anyone will watch this, but those that do, if any one of you that used to watch my videos remembers me and wonders where I've been, this is where I've been. Well, not in this room or building for the last year, but anyway, a few of you watched my videos and commented, and it was back and forth, and I used to watch yours, and it was lovely, so I want to get back into that. To do my favourite thing on these videos is digress, and I started this yesterday, but I was flapping about for like 2 hours trying to do it, and I recorded it a few times, and first of all I only had 6 minutes on my memory, because I'm terrible, because I post on Insta and everything all the time, and I keep every photo, every video practically, and when I post them I keep that as well, and it all mounts up, and it just doesn't give you the time. So yesterday I customized where it loads up on the settings, and it gives you extra space, so then it gave me 42 minutes, but then I tried videoing it again, and then I stopped and deleted it, and then it had gone down to like 30 minutes or something, so it was a bit weird, but I don't understand these things, how that works like that. But anyway, just started again, and it was on a half hour or so, but now I've just taken like doubles. I've taken Instagram off of here, my tablet, because I've got it on my phone, so I don't need it. It's just taking up space. But anyway, I digress. And by some miracle, while I was filming yesterday, I suddenly remembered, unfortunately, here where I am, we'll get to where I am, I don't have my tripod. It's back at home at the parents', and but by some lucky miracle, I stopped filming yesterday because I realised that you wouldn't be able to hear me properly. But by some fluke, I have my microphone with me. I just don't have my tripod. So that was lucky. I'd rather have the microphone so you can hear me, and I've got the tablet on the desk. But so that's 4.5 minutes of digressing, and I haven't even started. Okay, here we go. Got my nice hot cup of tea. Lady and the Tramp. Okay. Right. where were we? Well, I don't know if I'm starting exactly from where I left off, but from November last year, no, November 2018, it would be. Um, I started chatting on Messenger. We briefly chatted before, but I started chatting on Messenger properly. We chatted briefly, and she had a Facebook gap break because she needed one. But we met on the Facebook group for people with ME and fibromyalgia and things like that. I started chatting for several weeks, and I started to feel things for her, emotions, and I felt I was actually falling for her, like really falling for her. And I know people say that's crazy, and got to be careful online and everything, but this is over a year ago. This is now a year in the future, and trust me, this was real and is real, and is the rest of my life. But a so-called friend, well, the son of a good friend of mine, so I have to be civil and hide how I really feel about said person. Said so I was meant to be going to a gig that he was doing at a pub, and I was really up for it and couldn't wait. And then come around the time, my charming ME, which is my condition, my myalgic encephalomia, if any of you want to look that up. It's very horrible. So come the time, I was raring to go, and then when it came around, I was having a bad patch, and he said some nasty things in some comments, like Messenger, like that because of I was raring to go, and then I suddenly couldn't go. And at the same time, an actual friend was getting engaged, but I couldn't go to their engagement due for the same reason. But they were understanding and loving and caring, so it goes to show. But there you go. But basically, I put a post about it on said group, and Judith, who the young lady that I ended up messaging after, we'd messaged briefly before, back in October, the end of October. No, start of 1st of October, end of September to the 1st of October, the very end, the last day of September, because the next day was her birthday. But this is November, and she messaged me. Or did I message her this time? Because she put a comment. I think she put a comment on that post, because I was upset about it. So they did all understand, because they suffer with the same thing and similar things. So it was nice to get the backup from people that understand. But we started messaging properly this time in November 2018, and I started getting the feelings, and then I told her how I was feeling, and she didn't believe me for a large part of that time. Not truly. Actually, it was nice because she obviously has the same thing. She's been ill now at this point 6 years, but it was just under 5 years when we started chatting. She's better with voice messaging, and which I'm grateful for, because I prefer that a lot of the time, especially if you've got a lot to say, and with people like us it's hard because we get out of breath easily and things like that, and it's also more personal, I think. So yeah, we did a lot of voice messaging on Messenger, then we swapped numbers, and then because Messenger only lets you voice message for a minute, so we swapped numbers so we could WhatsApp, because WhatsApp I haven't tested it fully, but it's got to be at least half hour you're allowed. But I haven't gone over 25 minutes, and I haven't done that since we were messaging back then. There's a lot to take in, even in a voice message. But yeah, we could do longer messages and have proper conversations, and we had, and then over the next couple of weeks or so, we finally talked on the phone, and yeah, she started feeling things, I think, as well, and we were up all hours of the night, which is my normal, but not good for her, so I kept her awake too long sometimes, but she couldn't bear to go to bed because she wanted to keep chatting to me, which was really nice. And basically that was where it started, and told her how I felt, and actually it was Christmas Eve of that year. She was staying with her friends, her best friends, and her husband in Tunbridge Wells in Kent, and it was that Christmas Eve I actually told her how I felt, and yeah, she was going back home the next day, and yeah, it kind of went from there, and I was amazed, and she was amazed and very doubtful at the same time, of course, because it was very huge to say something like that, considering my current background at the time, you know, because I was under the impression, and she was under the impression that I was gay. But it turns out that I was just missing the one. You know, love is love, and you know, body parts don't matter when you find the one. You know, I'd been hurt a lot by the fairer sex when I was younger, and you know, I just kind of found myself going down same-sex path and just trying things when I was a bit older, and I was very confused for a long time, and apparently I was, well, not confused, but just not on the path I should have been, or I don't pretend to fully understand it, but bottom line, I was never really gay, I just didn't know it, and love is love, and when you find the one, that's it. So yeah, we were messaging and phone calls, and she's tried everything to improve her health over the last 6 years now. A lot of things, many things, and the latest and last thing she was going to try was moving away from the stressful environment of home to Tunbridge Wells, where her best friend lived, and we arranged that she would move in. Well, I was with her emotionally through the whole thing. It was a very emotional ride, getting a place that would take someone with a chronic condition and all that jazz. And it was very emotional for both of us, even though we hadn't even met at this point. But lots of bumps along the way. It finally happened. She moved in the February of last year to a small ground floor apartment, and we were going to give her a couple of weeks to move in and settle, but we couldn't wait. We couldn't wait to be together, so within 4 days, I think it was, I went to visit and never really left. And This, of course, is the Cliff Notes version, because I could talk for hours about this, but I can't. So this is very much the Cliff Notes version. That's us, by the way, Lady and the Tramp. Well, it's the romantic thing behind it. I'm not a tramp, as far as I know. But he was quite handsome for a tramp. Anyway, I digress. So I never really left. I knew as soon as I walked through the door, I got down on my knees. She was sitting on the sofa. I told her not to come to the door, just leave the door open because it would wear her out even more. I got down on my knees and I took her hand and I told her that I was right. I looked into her eyes and I just knew that was it. And I said to her, I was right. I said, I'm going to marry you. And yeah, I was right. We fell in love. I told her quite soon that I loved her. And I never really left. I do all the cooking and, well, in Tunbridge Wells apartment, we had a cleaner, several cleaners, but only one really great, amazing one that became our friend, but moved. She went off and moved to Bournemouth, and we were gutted, but she said to put a ring on Judith's finger and she'll be back for the wedding. So how could I refuse? We did. Yes, my wedding band. It's actually I don't know if you can see it, but it's a triquetra. Any of you Charmed fans out there? Hers is a little Disney Mickey Mouse, little gold one. We wanted something a bit quirky, like us. We didn't want just plain bands. So yeah. So yeah, there you go. So I moved in 4 days after she did. Never left. I proposed in August. Her parents, everyone, all our friends and family, well, a lot of them knew. We'd already planned that we were going to get married. We were planning the wedding and honeymoon and whatnot before I'd even proposed. So before it was all, because her mother's eternity ring was the engagement ring, so we had to get that sorted. It's very hard for Judith to get out, but we managed to get her out. Parents came down, I think, or was it just her mum that day? I can't remember, but it was her mum and I think her bestie as well. But anyway, we went to the jewellers and got it resized, and then I could officially pop the question, and I did in August, and her birthday was on the 1st of October. We got married on the 5th of October. We had a brief honeymoon in a nearby spa hotel because of particularly Judith's health. She can't travel too far. But it was lovely. It was like 3 days and 3 nights in a lovely spa hotel. It was really nice and amazing. And yeah. But a little while after we got back, there were many problems with the Tunbridge Wells place. The noise from above, it was a very old building, and the noise from above was horrific. Particularly the guy neighbour was up all hours of the night, and there was banging and machines going, and it was horrific for months. So we moved to Essex, to where I'm from, but a little way away from where I grew up in Clacton, to a converted chapel, which was 95 square feet, the front room and kitchen. It had a kitchen added. It was an old chapel built in 18... my brain's gone. Mid to late 106. Yeah, 1860. And they added a kitchen in the 80s and a hallway and a bedroom and a bathroom. Not the best setup because the bathroom was off the bedroom and they still had the old doors and it was horrible. Really not good. So we actually moved on the 15th of October, right after the honeymoon. So we got married on the 5th of October, moved on the 15th. And even for a healthy couple, that's crazy and exhausting and stressful. But for us, even more so. So yeah, we tried our best to make it homely. Actually, these are room dividers. We've got two. There's one over the other side. We got these specifically because of the room, 95 square feet. So it was my idea to get these. We got a lot of wedding gifts and a lot of wedding money, so it was really nice. And we got these and lots of other bits and pieces to divide the 95 square feet room into, so the kitchen area was kind of cut off, separate, so it made it into more like a living room and then the kitchen, or a kitchen living room, you know what I mean? But I will at some point, this being part one, I will at some point put pictures or videos up if anyone's interested in seeing. I'll put the Tunbridge Wells and then the chapel and then now where we are now. So yeah, it's, well, because we are here, we're not in the chapel now. We had a lot of problems there as well, unfortunately, and we were there October, November, December, just over 3 months. 25th of January, I think it was. It was cold and damp and mouldy and too many problems. The garden, we didn't have a garden. We had a communal garden in Tunbridge Wells. We had a cement, stony, way overgrown garden bit, a tiny garden bit just around the side of the chapel. Promised in August in an email the agent would get it tended and cut back, and it never was. Promised to my face in September, 10th of September, when I came to see it with my parents. Never done. It was never properly cleaned, any of the building, inside or out. I cleaned the windows myself over 2 or 3 days. It knackered me, but I wanted to do it because they were just dreadful and it was driving me crazy. They did fix the couple of stiff doors, the bathroom and the bedroom. Got some guys in to do that. We ended up with damp mould in the bedroom because of the bathroom being off the bedroom, and no one had been there for a while. But there we go. Too many broken promises. The state of the drapes, and there was mold everywhere, and it was just horrible. And the last straw, unfortunately, it was right off of a field. We ended up with field mice, and Judith got leptospirosis from said mice, and yeah. So she ended up in hospital for a few hours and was on antibiotics for that. But she was fine after a few weeks. I had no signs or symptoms, but they gave it to me as well, just to be on the safe side. We were both at our separate parents, she in Sussex and me in Essex, for a few weeks. I was able to go down to see her for a very brief 75 minutes on Valentine's Day, which was lovely to see each other. And while I was there, she got the call about this place. We are now actually in Bournemouth, which is where our lovely cleaner Lynette moved to. We haven't seen her yet because of lockdown. But she's not, I think she's in South Africa at the moment, which is where she comes from. But because of lockdown, she can't fly home. Well, she's home, but she's not. This is where she lives. But hopefully this will get sorted and it won't last too much longer. But yeah, we moved to Bournemouth. Judith got the call while I was there, so it went to voicemail, but it was about a viewing the coming Monday. I think that was a Friday, was Valentine's Day. So yeah, some friends of hers viewed it on our behalf on the Monday, and I think it was the Tuesday or the Wednesday the landlord or the agent called up and offered it, and of course she took it right away. So we were not at our separate parents for as long as we thought we would be, and we moved in here March 9th of March. Judith moved in. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Sorry, baby, if you watch this. I almost said madam, but she's not too keen on that, so sorry. Judith moved in on the 9th, and I moved in on the 11th, and we moved here because she has a lot of friends and family here, and they can help us out, and they have been a true lifesaver, especially at the moment. Because we are, regardless of what the government says, because I mean, even doctors don't. A lot of doctors can't agree and don't even believe ME is real, let alone the government. And as far as the government's concerned, we're not in the higher risk, but we are very much. As far as I'm concerned, we're just as much, if not more, risk of people over 70, and they have been told that they'll have to be in lockdown for like a year, last I checked. So as far as I'm concerned, we're in that category, despite what they say or think. But yeah, wow, 28 minutes. I've only got 33 minutes of memory. So yeah, but so I'll round up. Maybe this is just part one of where I have been and what's been happening. But yeah, I've been back home since first moving into the Tunbridge Wells apartment. I've been back home for several visits, but this is the farthest away I've been, so I haven't, obviously because of lockdown, but I would have visited back once by now, but it's a good 2.5-3 hour drive. It's like 5 or 6 hours on a train, so it won't be as often as it was when we were in Tunbridge Wells or Essex. It was only 45 minutes drive when we were in the chapel. Longer for Judith's parents, like 3 hours, or probably the same as it is now for my parents from where they are to here. But yeah, so we are now in lockdown, but we luckily enough moved just maybe a couple of weeks before lockdown started, so we were very lucky to get this place when we did and move in when we did. Otherwise that would be it. We would both be stuck at our separate parents, paying rent for an empty apartment here, and be separated. And I've got friends that are, one in particular, one of my besties, she is separated from her long time other half, and they're not, it's very distressing. But there are a lot of people a lot worse off in this current situation. Too many lives are lost, too many sick. So we have to be grateful for what we have, and if we are lucky enough to be with those we love, then yeah. So love and good thoughts going out to all of you. If anyone watches this or has watched this, I've only got 2 minutes left now, but thinking of everybody at this time, and yeah. So there you go. That is the long overdue year update. I didn't expect to do it in one part, but and just over a half hour. So if you have been strong enough, if anyone's watched this, if you've been strong enough to sit through me, my hideousness, and chatting away, then kudos. And it is now Friday, the 1st of May, and I'll try and upload this hopefully today, so it's done, and then maybe I can get on with the part 2, and give you a tour of the Tunbridge Wells and then the chapel and where we are now. But yeah, there you go. 80 seconds left of memory. But yeah. So from this happily married man, and now it's starting to go dark, so maybe I timed that just about alright. So from this happily married man, may the force be with you all. Take care.